The first shock of medieval cooling is this: people lived through brutal summers without ice machines, fans, or electricity, and yet many castles and homes remained surprisingly cool, while modern buildings overheat. Imagine stepping from a blinding summer courtyard into a stone hall where the air suddenly slows your breath. This was not luck. It was knowledge carved into walls, floors, and habits now forgotten. Heat was a danger as real as hunger. Food spoiled bodies, weakened tempers, flared, and disease spread faster in stagnant warmth. Survival demanded control of temperature without tools. The mystery is how ordinary people learned to bend air, water, and stone to their will. Cooling was not a single invention, but a system of choices discovered by trial, suffering, and observation. Thick walls, narrow windows, shaded courtyards, underground chambers, and flowing water all worked together like an invisible machine. People noticed where heat lingered and where it fled. They watched how caves stayed cold and how cellars preserved food. Over generations, these lessons hardened into architecture. Cooling became passive, silent, and constant. No switches, no fuel, no moving parts. Just design. This knowledge faded when energy became cheap and machines replaced memory. But the principles never stopped working. They wait quietly beneath the noise of modern life, reminding us that comfort once came from understanding nature, not overpowering it. Medieval cooling began with materials. Stone, earth, clay, and lime were chosen not for beauty, but for their stubborn resistance to heat. Thick walls absorbed warmth slowly during the day and released it only after nightfall. By then, cool air returned and carried the heat away. This created a natural delay that kept interiors livable even during heat waves. Windows were small and deep, set not to imprison light, but to control it. Sunlight entered briefly, then retreated, leaving shade behind. Roofs extended outward, casting shadows that moved like sundials across walls. Courtyards acted as lungs, pulling hot air upward, while cooler air slid inward from shaded passages. Water played a quiet role. Wells, cisterns, and fountains cooled surrounding air through evaporation. Even damp floors lowered temperature by stealing heat from the room. People slept low, ate low, and worked low, because heat rises. Upper floors were avoided during peak sun. Kitchens were separated or pushed downwind. Every habit reinforced the system. None of this required theory, only attention. Over centuries, these choices stacked into buildings that breathed. When modern construction replaced mass with glass and steel, the breath stopped. We gained light speed and convenience, but lost balance. Medieval cooling worked because it respected the slow physics of heat instead of fighting it. Here is the clever part. Medieval cooling was dynamic, not static. Buildings were designed to change behavior throughout the day. Morning shutters opened wide to flush stale heat out. Midday they closed, turning homes into shaded caves. Night brought another transformation as doors, vents, and high openings released trapped warmth into the dark sky. Underground spaces were essential. Cellars, pantries, and storage rooms stayed cold year-round because the earth shields them from surface heat. Food survived summer because of this stable darkness. Airflow was guided, not forced. Narrow corridors accelerated breezes. Angled openings caught prevailing winds and bent them inward. Even staircases acted as chimneys, pulling hot air upward and out. People learned this by living with heat, not escaping it. When something worked, it was repeated. When it failed, it was abandoned. Over time, survival refined design. Cooling also extended to clothing and diet. Linen breathed wool, insulated against heat swings. Meals shifted toward lighter foods during summer, reducing internal heat. Work slowed during peak sun and resumed in evening. Cooling was a lifestyle, not a device. This logic faded when mechanical cooling promised constant comfort everywhere. But that promise came with cost-energy dependence and fragility. Medieval cooling asked for cooperation with nature, not domination. It required patience, awareness and restraint. Those traits still matter. Today, the same forgotten cooling methods quietly return under new names. Passive cooling, thermal mass, natural ventilation and earth sheltering are medieval ideas wearing modern language. In a warming world, they are no longer historical curiosities, but survival strategies. Thick walls reduce energy demand. Shading lowers indoor temperatures without electricity. Courtyards and cross-ventilation cut reliance on air conditioning. Underground spaces protect food and people during heat emergencies. Even simple habits like closing blinds at noon and opening windows at night echo medieval rhythms. These principles scale from homes to cities. Urban heat islands form where mass was replaced by glass and asphalt. Reintroducing stone, shade, water and airflow reverses the effect. Self-reliance grows when cooling does not depend on power grids. During outages, medieval logic keeps people safe. This is not nostalgia. It is resilience. Technology can enhance these systems but should not replace them. When machines fail, physics remains. The medieval world survived heat through humility and observation. Modern life often ignores limits until crisis forces attention. Relearning these methods restores agency. You do not need to live in a castle to benefit. You need to let buildings breathe again. The past offers tools not to escape progress, but to stabilize it. Cooling without consumption may become the most valuable medieval inheritance of all. The story of medieval cooling is ultimately about memory. People once carried climate knowledge in walls, habits, and shared experience. That memory faded when energy made forgetting easy. Now heat returns as a global threat, and the old answers feel suddenly urgent. Medieval people did not solve cooling perfectly. They endured discomfort, but they survived without burning fuel or poisoning air. Their solutions were quiet, durable, and local. That matters now. As temperatures rise, the question is not whether technology will save us, but whether we remember how to live within limits. Forgotten cooling methods teach patience, timing, and respect for materials. They remind us that comfort does not require constant control, only intelligent design. By looking backward, we gain options moving forward. The past is not a cage, it is a toolbox. Each stone wall, each shaded window, each underground room carries a lesson written in survival. If this knowledge once kept people alive, it can do so again. The challenge is not engineering, but attention. To notice wind, sun, and shade the way medieval builders did. To design with time instead of against it. In remembering how cooling once worked, we rediscover a future that consumes less and endures more. If this story changed how you see old buildings and modern ones, share it and keep learning, because the past is still working.